I just want to make sure the binging's not going. It is Teleforum. It's 10 minutes after, working on 11 minutes after 9. First hour today. I got a surprise for my guest. Tom Young is my guest. Tom Young, a first consultant. He's a professional speaker, wrote the Family Money Farm, the CFO Project, Life Insurance, Will It Pay When I Die, the ebook, Jumpstart Your Financial Freedom. Tom is one of my favorites, and before we get into any of that, I'm going to give you a choice. Ready? Do you want a nice, happy birthday, Tom? That's great. Or do you want the full-blown, shenanigans where people come out and start clapping maniacally?
Just the happy birthday.
Happy birthday. One of those?
Yeah.
They bring out some weird dessert with fireworks stuck in the top of it.
That works. We had a little party last night with the grandsons and my daughter and at my house last night because today's all booked.
How much cake got into grandkids' mouth and how much on the face?
It was more. Well, one's 5 and one's 8, so I think more got in the mouth.
Okay.
And the little one, I had the floor. He misses the mouth and puts it on the floor.
It happens. That's what you get a dog for.
I graduated, to the next level. I'm 10 now. It's 2 digits. See, 7 and 3 is 10.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I was 9. 7 and 2 was 9. So yesterday was the last day of the year of my 72nd year.
Well, happy birthday. Another trip around the sun for you.
Absolutely. And Eddie, it's amazing to feel the way I do at 73 years old.
The first thing you said,
is a blessing.
First thing you said when you came in was, I got up early and I got my workout in. I'm thinking, I got up early enough to scratch and take a shower.
No. I did Total Synergistics is the workout. It's
okay.
a P90X3 workout called Total Synergistics.
That's cool.
It includes push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, crunches, and all kinds of things. I guess I did about 60 pull-ups on a pull-up bar this morning.
Did you really?
And about 40 push-ups.
I haven't done 40 push-ups in the last 40 years, so I salute you just for that.
It is.
How do you stay motivated?
My wife.
Yeah?
My wife. My wife has multiple myeloma cancer. She's doing fine. She's been in remission. Showed up in remission again now and that. But I just believe somewhere in the future I'm going to have to physically take care of her. And being capable to work out and be healthy and strong, then there's no excuse to not be capable of taking care of her.
So, well, in a strange way, that's what you do professionally.
We've been together 54 years, and so we're just,
Yeah. She put up with you for 54 years.
I question that. I have a
okay.
Upstairs in my garage, and I got heat out there and air conditioning in my cave, and
Oh, that's nice.
you
You got
know,
your own-
so
you got your
you know,
own Tom dog
the day
house.
may come when she's tired of me to get out, you know, so I'll move to the garage.
As long as you got cable up there, you'll be fine.
I have that up there too, so I have a small television.
You're good to go. Talking about helping people and planning for the future, that's kind of what you do professionally too. What are we
It is.
talking about today?
You know, I have really for the last several weeks talking about mindset, because I really believe it all has to start with how you think, the 6 inches between your ears, and that mindset, you know, that expectation. And if you don't have an expectation of success, financial success, health and well-being, I really am expanding my coaching to health, wellness, and fitness and all of that, because I do all of that. But all of that is tied. If your financial world is not doing well, it really affects everything else.
Oh, absolutely it does, just like those other things can.
And absolutely. So it's really about, you know, mindset, you know, health and fitness, wellness, prosperity. It really all starts in the mind. Do you have an expectation of success? Or do you have a poverty mindset instead of a prosperity mindset that, oh, this is who I am and this is what it's going to be, and wow. So you've been beat up so much in your life that you've given up hope of ever having the big thing, the great thing in your life.
You've just cashed out on that, and you've gone drone.
And I unfortunately, I just think, you know, most people are that way. You know, and I start every program, we start with a prayer today. You know, we pray for everybody in the world. This Chinese virus that has gone around the world. I guess the president the other day said the pandemic's over.
Yeah, I heard.
And so he knows all, thinking and sees all and knows all. But the only one that knows all is Jesus Christ, the Lord above, and that he would gather everybody into his arms that has been lost through this. And we had the Ukraine and Russia thing going on, and that he would gather them into his arms and take them to his kingdom of heaven above, and help people with their thinking, Lord. Just, you know, help them take the cobwebs out and clear their glasses so they can see the real opportunity that you have provided for everybody. Just got to go forward and do something. I have to actually take that. In Jesus' name we pray. You know, it's crazy. And I meet people, when I meet people, the very first meeting in my office, I have a process that I go through.
Okay.
And one of those processes is what I refer to as the DOS question. And
The DOS question?
The DOS, D-O-S. In other words, there are 3 questions. In other words, I have 10 questions I go through, most of them about who are you, what are you doing, how did you find me, who referred you to me, if anybody. You know, I want to know that. What are you doing now about your own future savings?
Yeah.
And ask them that question. So I want to know, what are you doing? What's your current plan?
Right.
You know, what are you doing now? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? What you're doing? And how do you think, you're here to see me, obviously you've got something in your mind. How do you believe I can enhance or improve?
Something is motivating them to come in to
Right,
see you.
exactly. You didn't come here to waste your time.
Right.
You came here for a reason. And then I'll ask them, you know, well, what about experiences you've had with other financial advisor type people? Have you had any other experiences? And the majority of people have really done no planning. They've had no experience with another advisor of any kind. Once in a while, somebody will say, well, they were with so-and-so and they just didn't get along or whatever.
Do they tell you why they don't have any planning? Is it because they've lived their life paycheck to paycheck and thought, what's the point of planning? Or life sneaks up on you?
I think you get beat up from when you get out of high school. If you think the mindset of growing up, you know, when you're in your 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, 16, there's always something to look forward to, Eddie. In other words, I want to be 16, you know, so I can drive.
Driver's license.
I want to be 18, so I'm a legal adult now, and on and on.
So I could buy beer back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
And so I think we lose sight when we get into the reality of life. We find our mate for life, we get married, and we start out together. And I don't find a lot of people that sit down and actually have any dreams and goals? Because those three questions, Doss, I'll ask them, give me three dangers, three things that you see as a danger in your financial realm over the next 3 years. And so loss of job, there's common answers that I get in those.
Health bills, loss of job.
Right.
Loss of income, right.
Right. And then O is opportunity. What three opportunities do you see in the next 3 years or so of your life that you'd like to take advantage of? And so that's a dream question. I refer to it. What are you chasing? What are you doing? And my heart goes out because not a lot of people have a tangible, here it is, this is what I'm working for. I have a young gal that I met a couple weeks ago, my second meeting with her today. She found me through Nelson Nash's Infinite Banking Concept website.
Okay.
She's a young single mom, has a 12-year-old son, and she just lights my fire because she's going to do this, and she works from home, she's self-employed, does coaching and all this stuff. So I just don't find a lot of people that are of that mindset. And that's what it takes. We have to work. I change people's mindsets for a living.
Okay.
Whether it's about health, fitness, wellness, I share my picture sometimes. I've shared my picture to you, my ripped picture and it's still at 73 that, it's still, and that was always in my mind. I wanted to be ripped. I've worked out for 40 years and I grew up, my father had an 8th grade education, so in the beginning, I graduated high school with a D minus. I'm not proud of that, but I got out of high school. I went to the Air Force.
You got out, that's right.
But the mindset in my household when I was growing up was we weren't the kind of people that went to college, so there was no money. My dad worked 3 jobs most of his life. And I remember times when he would come home on payday from the mill where he worked, and he'd throw $3 on the table, and that was what was left over. He was a stickler to paying the bills, and that was what was left over.
That was groceries for the week.
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, as I got older, there were days that I wasn't around when that happened because it was always an argument between my mom and dad. I loved them dearly, but that was growing up. So in high school, the thought of going to college and all, it just wasn't a mindset.
Right.
It was, so it wasn't anything that was a goal going on. And went to the Air Force, and I wanted to be an aircraft mechanic, and they made me a medic. So that was another shot in the heart. Because my dream, I worked on cars since I was 12 years old, automobiles.
So it would have made perfect sense, yeah.
It was all about that, and so
They made you a medic.
They sent me to medical school, and I became a medic. I got out of the Air Force, married my wife, and she's the first adult female I ever dated, and I'm the first adult guy she ever dated. So it was meant to be,
Right.
for us. But it was now that mindset that I had in the beginning. It was a bad attitude mindset.
How so?
Because it seemed like every time I would, like the Air Force, I wanted to be an aircraft mechanic, they made me a medic. It just seemed like every time I started working towards something, I would get slapped down. So, after a while, you start getting an attitude.
Yeah, you do. You either give up or get surly.
You do. And I'm thankful to the Lord above that I was able to find my way. I got into sales with the insurance business after a couple of years and 2 or 3 jobs. And it just made a difference. It gave me, I started to read books. My first mentors in life was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, How to Win Friends, Influence People by Dale Carnegie, Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. Schwartz. And these books and things, they became the foundation. They started to build my mindset. And that's what I talk to people about today. What are you doing to find that mindset that you need to have in order to find some success in life? Whether it's health and fitness, and if you don't chase health and fitness, even if you become financially successful, it's going to be fleeting, Eddie, because you're not going to have the ability to enjoy it. and do that. So all of this stuff actually all comes together in one way. And I'm gonna take off. We're gonna go on a break, and before, because we're gonna go on the news.
I love doing a show with Tom.
We're gonna break here because I'm gonna change direction when I come back, and we're gonna talk about self-talk.
Self-talk.
For the beginning of building a correct mindset. So we're gonna come back and talk about building the correct mindset after the break.
It's Teleforum. Tom Young is my guest on Beaver County Radio.
Did you hear the big news? Somebody is celebrating their 83rd birthday. This is Andy Dangle. Oh, for heaven's sake, it's not me. It's the people I talk about all the time, Freedom United Federal Credit Union. It was right about this time of year in 1939 when a group of employees at the Freedom Oil Company pooled their financial resources to help each other.
Hey Andy, I'm a little short today. Can you pick up my lunch tab?
Well, not exactly like that, but the concept of people helping people was born. And it continues to
95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with WBVP, WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com, invite you to tune in to Sounds of Faith. Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 for a mix of the best sacred music of all time. Sounds of Faith is brought to you by Crawford Tire and Beaver, the William Murphy Funeral Home, City Rescue Mission, MRS Physical Therapy, Circle of Friends, J&J Spratt Funeral Home, and Rome Monument and Inspirational Gifts. Sounds of Faith, uplifting, relaxing, and inspiring radio. Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with WBVP, WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com.
Highmark Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Allegheny Health Network are pleased to present a new show on Beaver County Radio called Heroes. Tune in every Saturday at 10 and Sunday at 12:30 for Heroes, a wonderful half-hour segment hosted by Jim Roddy that profiles many of the local heroes in this community. Click highmark.com for more information and then tune in for Heroes this Saturday at 10 and again Sunday at 12:30 on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM.
It's easier than ever to connect with Pittsburgh-based Goldberg, Persky & White. With offices in Pittsburgh, Johnstown, and Weirton, the mesothelioma attorneys can easily come to you. For a free consultation, you can email GPW at info@gpwlaw.com, call 1-800-COMPLEX, or get your questions answered immediately by connecting the GPW's online chat representatives who are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at gpwlaw.com. Goldberg, Persky & White, working lawyers for working people. Beaver County Radio and Aliquippa Giant Eagle want to take you out to the ballpark. Tune in this week, visit BeaverCountyRadio.com, and check the station's social media feeds for details on how you can find yourself at PNC Park for Sunday afternoon's game against the Chicago Cubs. Get your favorite Pirates gear ready because you might be heading to the ballpark this weekend. Your chance to win tickets is happening soon, courtesy of Aliquippa Giant Eagle, right here on Beaver County Radio.
It is Teleforum coming up on 2 minutes before news at 9:30. After the news, Tom, what are we talking about? Because you want a whole segment.
We're gonna build the strategy of the mindset. In other words, what do I do today? I want, Tom, I want what you're talking about. How do I get started?
I want what you're talking about minus the workout part.
That's fine.
It's part of it.
Well, you know, I do some strong workouts, but I didn't do that in the beginning. It took a long time to be able to do what I do today in workouts. And there's a plan to do that. I mean, I can help you. I don't care what level of health you're at. I can guide you and coach you to a program that'll be for your level right now. That will help you grow and become and go as far as you want to go in physical fitness and doing that. But the mindset, you know, how do I change my mindset? And how do I set up a successful mindset? You know, I can say, you know, the financially successful mindset or a mindset of a successful life. And all of that ties together with a talk I did, and I talked about it several years ago. It's actually on YouTube, and it's a talk that I did called Be the Example. And we are the product of the experiences of our life and the people that we've met and what we have heard and what we have read. The experiences of life are determine who we are. So you can either decide to control those experiences to develop the correct mindset to take you forward. And that really comes down, you know, here's a situation. Each of us carry a bucket of gasoline and a bucket of water. Then you get to make a decision. Here's a circumstance in front of you. You can either respond or you can react.
We're going to talk about that after news with Tom Young. It's Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
And good morning on this Tuesday, September the 20th. We are expecting mostly sunny skies today. High's going to be up to 78 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County Radio with a forecast coming up for you right after we have this look at news. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano is reporting that Beaver County District Attorney David Lozier reported to her yesterday that oral arguments will start today in PA Superior Court in Pittsburgh as Sheldon Jeter Jr. starts the appeal process of being convicted for first-degree murder in the killing of 30-year-old Tyreek Pugh on May the 15th of 2020 in Aliquippa on Kill Street. Jeter was found guilty during a jury trial on June the 23rd of 2021 and sentenced on July the 21st of 2021. Jeter was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the killing of his best friend. Pennsylvania State Police in Newcastle reporting that they were called to the Dollar General on Route 18 in Waltham Borough around 12:32 a.m. this morning. And when they arrived, they discovered that the front door of the store was broken and items were taken from inside the business. No other information is available at this time, as state police are continuing to investigate. Pennsylvania State Police in Butler reporting that they were called to the scene of a two-vehicle accident on Pennsylvania Route 68 in Connequenessett Township, Butler County, last Wednesday, September the 14th at 3:35 p.m., involving two Beaver County residents. Upon arriving and investigating, it was learned that 26-year-old Mackenzie Haranik of Aliquippa was stopped on Evans City Road south of Stevenson Road in her 2017 Nissan Rogue, waiting for a vehicle to turn left in front of her when her vehicle was struck from behind by a 2007 Pontiac G5 being driven by 31-year-old Dennis Ward of Freedom. Ward suffered minor injuries in the accident and was not transported to the hospital. Haranik was not injured. Her vehicle suffered minor damage, and Ward's vehicle suffered significant damage, according to state police. Ward was also cited by troopers for following too closely to a vehicle in front of him. Gas prices are 6 cents lower in western Pennsylvania this week at $3.92 per gallon, according to AAA East Central's gas price report. The average price during the week of September the 20th of last year was $3.37 a gallon. The average price of unleaded self-serve gasoline here in Beaver County is $4.02 a gallon. The national average price of gasoline dropped 4 cents this past week to $3.67 on the back of lower gasoline demand and the annual transition to winter blend gasoline. The national average has fallen $1.34 since its peak in mid-June. Today's average is 24 cents less than a month ago and 48 cents more than 1 year ago. This week is National Child Passenger Safety Week, and AAA East Central is reminding parents about the importance of properly installing and using car seats. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, approximately 139,042 children were injured in car crashes in 2020, or more than 350 injuries per day. Recent research from AAA and the National Safety Council showed a concerning gap in child passenger safety awareness from both parents and caregivers. In the study, more than half of all car seats brought in for inspection to child passenger safety technicians were improperly installed and used. Yet only 20% of the parents and caregivers seek expert help installing a car seat or securing a child in a car seat. Car Seat Basics is a free online course that helps participants understand the 4 stages of child passenger safety, including rear-facing car seats, forward-facing car seats, booster seats, and seat belts. Participants can complete the full training or select a module on a specific stage of a child passenger safety. The course was developed through the NCS's work with the NHTSA. If you're interested, you can see a link along with tips for properly installing a car seat on our website at beavercountyradio.com.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Patchy morning fog will give way to mostly sunny skies today with a high of 78 degrees. Partly cloudy overnight tonight with a low down to 60. A chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms tomorrow with a high up to 87 degrees. Thursday, showers and possibly a thunderstorm, high up to 67 degrees. Friday, mostly sunny with a high of 64. And then taking a peek at your first weekend of autumn. Partly sunny Saturday with a high of 68. And a chance of showers on Sunday with a high of 74 degrees. Our newscast here at 9:30 is being brought to you by MRS Physical Therapy with 2 locations. One, Stone Point Landing in Bridgewater. The other, Cranberry Physical Therapy on Route 19 in Cranberry. If you'd like more information on MRS Physical Therapy, look them up online at mrsphysicaltherapy.com. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com, all presented by St. Barnabas.
You don't have to have had an accident, suffered a sports injury, or undergone surgery to take advantage of the benefits of physical therapy from Dale Reckless at MRS Physical Therapy. At a recent live broadcast at MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater, Dale Reckless talked about treatment for the common foot pain condition, plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis is a pretty common thing, and I tell my patients, don't wait to come and get some treatment for it. The longer you wait, the more chronic it becomes, and we'll still fix it, it'll just take longer. If you come to see me when you're first getting the symptoms, then I can take care of it a lot quicker. What I do with plantar fasciitis is we give some stretches to do. I do a lot of hands-on exercise, and then I also do an evaluation of how they walk and how they stand. They need the hands-on work that I do to help cure the plantar fasciitis.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater and Cranberry Physical Therapy in Cranberry. Visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
It is Teleforum, 37 minutes after 9 o'clock. Sunshine once the fog burns out today. Sunshine in the studio, and it's being live streamed. Birthday sunshine. Again, happy birthday.
I just have somebody on Facebook just say happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Thank
Tom
you,
Young.
Yeah.
Tom Young's my guest, and all manner of stuff talked about in the first half hour. Explained, set up, because this was important enough. You wanted a full segment. You didn't want to start for a little bit and have to stop.
And it's, how do I change and set up my mindset? In other words, I really want to believe in the future. I want to believe that the great thing can happen in my life.
You want to wake up with a positive attitude about good things.
Absolutely.
Right.
That the key word is attitude.
Okay.
And that is where everything starts. If a man strives to do better and create more for his family, and someone sees something wrong, then that's something wrong with that person. I'm not sure whether you're in that category or not.
If you see a negative,
what I said there, let me paraphrase that. So many times in life, even in my own history of what I've done, I've been in sales almost my entire adult life.
Okay.
Tom's Auto Body Shop. I was in sales, that auto body shop. I repaired cars and worked for customers. And I've been in sales for the last 47.5 years in the financial realm of the world. And I work, and I've met guys along the way, or ladies, that are just superstar performers. They're number one in the company. They write more business than everybody else, and on and on and on.
All right.
And if I did a study in my mind of their mindset,
Right.
you become fearless. And so then you do what others won't do so that someday you'll be able to do what others can't do.
When you say fearless, you mean not afraid of failure? Is that part of it?
That is the key word
Okay.
is failure. You know, failing, false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
Because it's in our mind. You know, what we see is an interpretation of the mind. We have to train the mind to interpret what we see.
True.
Mental nearsightedness and farsightedness, the major distortion of mental vision. Mental nearsightedness, you're apt to overlook objects and possibilities that are distant, so you don't see. So we have to work on tuning our eyeglasses. We have to clean the lens, and we have to adjust the telephoto lens, so to speak, of how do I see what is possible in my future, and then how do I get from where I am today to there. When I started in the insurance business, you know, there was a guy's name was Ben Feldman. He has since passed away. Ben Feldman is the greatest life insurance sales agent ever in history. He is the Guinness Book of Records.
Like legit?
In 1 year,
Okay.
wrote billions of life insurance in 1 year. Billion with a B. And so I studied Ben. He lived in East Liverpool, Ohio. I went and knocked on his door one night, and I was in the business 3 months. I went and knocked on his door. I wanted to meet this man that everybody is talking about. And the secret that he told me that night.
Did he welcome when you, because you're
knocked
talking
on
about,
his door.
you're an insurance groupie at this point, knocking on a door and seeing.
I'm knocking on his
Yeah.
door, and he comes to the door. He spoke with a lisp. He was real quiet.
Okay.
He talked with a lisp. And I told him who I was, and I'd heard about him, and I just wanted to meet him.
Yeah?
So he invited me in. He says, I only have a minute. He said, my son Richard just had their first child, so they're our first grandchild.
Oh,
and
cool.
we're on our way to the hospital. But
Wait,
I
he's
mean,
on the way to the hospital to see a
he took
grandkid,
him-
but he let you come in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I've never forgotten that. And we talked for a minute, and he said, look, he says, if this is what you want to do and you want to be successful, he says, you have to own what you're selling. In other words, you have to believe in it.
Right.
In other words, if you don't believe in the product you're selling, okay, then you're going to struggle selling it to people, because
They'll know.
people buy because of you, not because of them. In other words, your belief is what sells whatever you're selling, whether it's automobiles or whatever, in most cases.
It's
So
the question, well, would you buy it? You've got to show people that whatever it is,
Exactly.
you're in.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So the next day, I bought my first $100,000 life insurance policy. My wife thought I was crazy. Mm-hmm. And over the next 12 months, I sold 23 $100,000 policies. My first year in the business, I became #1 in this group office with 60-some agents.
Okay.
And then they made me a sales manager. So what I learned was you have to build that belief inside you. That's where the mindset comes from.
And you have to believe it. You can't just put on airs of it.
Right. If you want X or Y or Z in your future, you want 10,000 a month income at retirement or whatever it is, you got to want it bad. You got to want it bad enough that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get it. Now, that's back to the fear thing what I was talking about, because I have to be willing to say, hi, how you doing, and shake hands with people that I've never met before. It's part
You've
of
got to
sales. It's
accept
what I do.
rejection.
There it is, and the rejection, you know, when you get beat up a few times, you start to cower back.
Yeah.
And the same thing in life. Life beats you up every day. Mm-hmm. I mean, in the last week, my hot water tank went out. Teresa went out. The basement was flooded with water in the hot water tank, so that went out the other day. I got my truck inspected, needed ball joints.
I was going to say, there's $400 or $500.
Well,
Yeah.
there's $1,300 for the hot water tank. Was $800 for the truck.
Okay.
And the quarterly tax bill come due, so that was to pay that, and it was just all at one time, you know, going on. And last month I have a boat, a pontoon boat, and I had to put gears, new bottom of the motor on, and it was $2,300.
Yes.
So it just, stuff happens. And you can choose how you respond or you react. In other words, the secret that I have found in my life is looking back, and over the last 47 years, I've had these ups and downs. And Eddie, you have ups and downs in your life.
Every single day.
Everybody does.
Yes.
Everybody does. And what I know is I look back, and when I have slow periods or downtimes, this summer's been really slow, slower than normal, and I think it's because of people are getting afraid, gas at $5 a gallon, and on. But I know that after this passes, the next high will be higher than it was in the past. So if you look historically in your life, more often than not, this isn't a guarantee, but more often than not,
Right.
when you go through a deep valley and you go through it and you go through it with the right attitude and you come out of it, then the next high in your life is going to be higher than the last high. And that kind of thinking, what does that do to your thinking, Eddie? Doesn't that cause excitement? Doesn't that cause positive mental attitude? I've been here before, going through the crap, but I know that on the other side of this crap, it's going to be better than it ever was before.
One day at a time, maintain, it's going to get better.
Absolutely, and that is what we're talking about. So this building the mindset all starts with how you think. And how do I change my thinking? Well, read books. The 3 books that I recommend that everybody start with is Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends, Influence People, Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. Schwartz. And chapter 3 or 5 in Dr. Schwartz's book is a chapter called Excuse-itis. And
I had that for about 3 years in high school.
but you know,
Kept coming back about test time.
absolutely. And we find ourselves not being honest with ourselves. And sometimes if things aren't going well, you know, I step back and say, well, I should have made more calls. I should have knocked on more doors, you know, said, hi, how you doing, more. So it is always, if it is to be, it's up to me. And so many times people in life, they reach a certain point where they think they made it. They think they made it. You know, upon the plains of hesitation sit the bones of countless millions who upon the threshold of success sit down to wait, and in waiting they died.
Without the success that they were waiting for.
So success is a journey. It isn't a destination. There are destinations along the way that come with achieving a goal that was set based on a dream that I had or something that I really wanted. And in order to get it, I had to set a goal to get there. And the goal takes action. I had to set an action plan in order to get there. And I got folks on here and they're trying to raise money for a roof on a church or whatever they're doing. You have to sit down and create your counsel, your people. In other words, don't be afraid to draw on other people's thinking, people that you're close to. You should create a private board of directors. I have 2 or 3 clients that are part of my board of directors. They're good clients, but I can sit down and have a discussion with them about, you know, what should I really be doing to move forward to the next level in my business, and we need to do that in life in the same way.
Is that a difficult thing for some people to do, to defer, to recognize somebody might have a better idea or as good an idea as I do? Because you're talking about taking control of your life and success for the future. Might not be so easy to give up the reins. You're going to help me with my future, even though it's my future.
Right.
Can that be tough for some people?
It is, and I'm, you know, now we're into personalities, that DISC, you know, positive personalities
Right.
that I teach, and that's the same way. And as a D personality, I'm one of those people. Don't tell me what to do, because I will defy you every time.
I'm going to do the opposite.
You know,
Don't tell me to jump off the bridge. I'll jump to just to spite you.
but
Yeah.
ask for my help, and if I'm capable or if I have the ability, I will bend over backwards to help you. But don't tell me what to do.
Ask me, don't tell me.
And we have to understand. So there is another book, Personality Profiles, by Dr. Robert Rome, who's out of Atlanta, and that was where I went to get personality training to understand this DISC program of personalities. So when I think of this, and let's put it together, okay?
All right.
Number one is you make a decision. You got to make a decision that this is it. I want this. Okay, how do I get there? Okay, then you create a goal that I'm going to do such and such. In other words, and then if the goal is a year from now or 2 years from now or 5 years from now, you have to break it down. What do I have to do this year to be in position next year?
To be on time.
To be on time.
Right.
To get there. And when I set goals, I also have to have what are the objections that I'm going to face? In other words, what obstacles am I going to face in setting this goal? I set a goal, and I set out 3 different things for action. Well, when I set out an action plan, then I'm going to think, well, what would stop me from doing that? You know, what are the things that would stop me? The obstacles.
What's a wrench in the works?
Right.
For step one.
And so I think this is going to be a wrench, an obstacle. Okay, what am I going to do to overcome that obstacle? And this is how you write out goals, and if you're serious about where you want to go, and now you've got that the goal. Now you have to work on you and the positive attitude. In other words, and that starts with self-talks, and I got a list of just things that you should say to yourself. In other words, I have this list.
Okay.
I am open and receptive to all the good and abundance in the universe. Thank you, life.
Mostly.
In other words, you know, life will hear you and respond.
If you open your ears and open your
I am
share,
a magnet
yeah.
for money. Prosperity of every kind is drawn to me.
Okay.
I think big and then allow myself to accept even more good from life. Wherever it is that I work, I am deeply appreciated and well compensated. Today is a delightful day. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. In other words, they're just little phrases.
Yeah.
And you see them. I bring them every month. I
Yes,
have
you
all
do.
these little cards. And when I started writing them, I'd read a book. And when I was done reading the book, I'd have maybe a half-inch thick stack of these cards from what the little things in the book that I picked out of the book.
That jump out at you.
Okay, it is the goal that shapes the plan. It is the plan that sets the action. It is the action that achieves the result. And it is the result that brings the success. Now that's Shad Helmstetter, and that's the guy that I went to learn how to be a life coach with.
Okay.
That was one of his sayings. So when we think of that, here's courage. This is probably the hardest one of all. Courage. The state or quality of mind or spirit that enables one to face danger with self-possession, confidence, and resolution. Fear that has said its prayers.
I like that one a lot.
You know, it just, so all of this has to come into play. I mean, there were times where when I started to learn this 45 years ago, and I would set goals. I would write down goals, and I'd say, okay, and I'd put them in my drawer in my desk, and a couple of months later I'd come back and, well, what did you do? But it wasn't the piece of paper. There was no action plan. I didn't do anything. I didn't do the plan. I didn't do the action to move toward the goal.
You made the outline and stopped.
I made the outline and then I put it in the drawer.
Yeah.
And I would go back and I would look at it and massage it, and I'd put it back in the drawer and come back a couple months later. And there were years that, you know, the end of the year came, and man, I didn't even come close to what I said at the beginning of the year that I wanted, because I didn't do what I should have done. The things that today that I know that I have to do this. If I want this, I have to do this, this, and this. And I believe that's where people have to get to. And in order to do this, this, and this, to get this thing that you want,
Whatever it
has
is.
to be big.
Right.
It has to be something you really want. And it's just what it is.
Is it frustrating that it's in your mind this is easy but you look back and say, why wasn't it easy before? Are you just glad that you're waking up and seeing life and saying, I learned it in time?
All of this, Eddie, is easy.
Yeah.
There is nothing physically here that somebody would say, well, I physically can't do
Yeah,
that.
my brain doesn't understand that.
The brain.
Yes.
See, that is where lack of confidence, fear. Well, if I do this, what people might say about me?
Yep.
You know, my peer group, and that is such a powerful, determining factor in our lives, because other people. Well, why do you think you could do that? Because other people will look at themselves. They're not thinking the way you're thinking and say, well, Eddie, what makes you think you could do that?
Yeah.
See, in their mind, they're saying, well, I couldn't do that, and I'm as good as anybody else with.
Yeah. It's a John Prine song, people putting people down. What makes you think you're special? I've already demonstrated with that reaction that I don't think I'm special, and I'm lashing out.
It is. So it's the hardest thing that we all have to accomplish is to take charge of the mind, the 6 inches between our ears, and make a decision. You know, the DOS, remember it said dangers, opportunities, and the S. What do you see your strengths are? In other words, here you are, and I got a couple sitting in front of me, and I say, together, what do you see as your strengths?
Is there a typical answer?
No.
No?
No. You know,
Do some people
one
struggle?
One answer I'll get, they'll say, we work hard. We get it done. We're together.
Okay.
You know,
Well,
that
that's a
is
strength.
an answer that I get, you know, from a married couple often,
Right.
what's going on and doing that. But it all starts with the mindset. It all starts with the mindset.
The old saying, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
You're absolutely. Absolutely. You know, repeat anything often enough and it will start to become you. Okay?
Yep.
The words you constantly select will shape your destiny. You know, I cringe when I'm around people, business people, professional people that use vulgar slang, bad words. You know, it says in the Old Testament, you know, those things. And I tell people, you plant worms in your mind, it's going to eat your mind up. You can never be successful if your vernacular is the bomb and all those other words that go along with it that people can't stop talking about. So I see we are close to the end of the show, is where we're at.
I wish I would have learned earlier what you just told me. I did eventually learn that. That saucy talk business, I did eventually learn that, but I wish I would have learned that earlier.
You know, as I wrap up, you know, the future will result from your imagination or someone else's.
True.
You have to have a dream or someone else will, and that's the person you work for.
Yeah.
You work to help other people's dreams come true in everything that you do. You know, life is there. Opportunity is there, no matter how bad things look in politics, finance, or anything else. It's still, if it is to be, it's up to me. And it's a personal decision that we all have to make. We have to make that decision on what we want, where we want to go. And if I don't know how to get started, well, Think and Grow Rich is the greatest book that has ever been written. If you know Napoleon Hill's story and how that all came to be, it is the most printed book next to How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's the third most printed book in the world.
Wow.
Dale Carnegie. And those two books really are how to set goals, how to set action plans, Think and Grow Rich, and How to Win Friends and Influence People is the absolute best people skills teaching book that exists. And with that, I'm Tom Young. I own First Consultants in Beaver. Come and sit down with me for 45 minutes. No obligation. I won't ask you to buy anything. And there won't be another meeting unless you desire it to come back. But give me an opportunity to change your future and change your life. 724-728-6820. Our office hours are somewhere 9 to 3, but by appointment mostly. You can go to www.1stfirstconsultantsinc.com. Right at the top of the website, there's a calendar there. If you want to put an appointment in, you go right into my calendar, and put an appointment in my calendar. Face-to-face, phone call, or Zoom, either way. So we're in 35 states across the country right now.
Tom Young makes the hour go so quick. Happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you all. Thank you for the people that signed in all over the world, and thank you for your prayers.
Tom Young on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
Hi, this is Tom Young from First Consultants, Inc. Have you ever heard the phrase, you can't take it with you when you die? Of course you have. Believe it or not, nothing can be further from the truth. Everyone has economic human life value. That value based on what we do and what we earn annually for a lifetime. We all know that the next generations of our family are going to need a tremendous amount of money to circumvent the government and the problems that they have left us for our future. Life insurance creates this money for pennies. Many times it can be created with no additional out-of-pocket cost. You see, you do take it with you. You take it away from the future generations of your family. Give us a call at 724-728-6820 for a complimentary 45-minute discussion, or visit our website, firstconsultantsinc.com, or tune into our monthly multimedia simulcast and Facebook live stream video on the third Tuesday of each month from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
All advisory services are offered through PL Wealth LLC. PL Wealth is a federally registered investment advisor. PL Wealth is no way affiliated with First Consultants, Inc., nor is First Consultants, Inc. a registered investment advisor.